talk about sex today. How fun is that?
I know that for the past 15 years of my marriage, it's been something that I've needed to work on. But today, I actually learned concrete things that I can go home and do.
Yep.
And so I have a huge to-do list to get started with. So Thank you for giving me my to-do list.
Wonderful. And hopefully it won't feel overwhelming, just a minor thing. Okay, anyone else along that side?
I've learned to appreciate what a kind husband I actually have, that he doesn't force or...
Good.
Anyway,
it's huge.
great.
And it's a good realization, because not everyone is so lucky, you know? Right. Everybody doesn't have to, but just anyone that wants to.
I've talked a lot today, but I think you've given a lot of good keys. I definitely struggle with surrender, so I'm glad for some tips and tools, and I'm definitely going to go and read that chapter like 5 times.
And also the surrender handout as well, for sure, which will be in the course as well. Anyone else? Just raise your hand if you do.
Just through our marriage and the things that we've kind of learned through, and we don't. The thing that's been most important to me is to talk, to be able to just have things that I can. We've been married for 26 years, and we need to talk about some things, but we've just kind of learned on our own. But to be able to talk about it, have these talking points that you've given to us is really going to be really helpful for both of us. So
Love that. Love that. Awesome. Raise your hand. Here's up here. Yep.
I really appreciate that you've told us to kind of take charge of our sex life, and that it's not, our husband's responsibility necessarily to know what we need. And so just having these points that I can touch on with him and have more clarity of like what I should be asking for, what I should figure out about myself, so that he can, make me happy sexually, because he doesn't just know. Yeah. And it's up to me.
Love that. Love that. And guys, a lot of you who's got a hand up next. A lot of your husbands are just going to be thrilled to have you come home and teach them everything you've learned today. They're going to be thrilled. So be prepared. Those of you that's your situation, go teach them. All right, who's next? Right there.
We walk in the mornings, and so we've listened to your book, but I've just love the way that you've explained it even in more detail here. But I thought it was very helpful about the process writing, just to get all that out, because all that has been going on in my mind for many, many years. Yeah. And what a wonderful tool to just, like you said, once you write it down, there is a release there.
Yep.
Love it. That was really helpful to me.
Love that. All right, just kind of work your way back up. Who else?
I love that having a low sex drive, that I'm not, it's normal.
Yep.
That it's,
isn't it cool to find out you're
right,
normal?
that there's not something wrong with me, and that your rocket ship, it gives me steps that I can do to improve that. Yeah. And where to go with it. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, so simple. Just that one diagram makes all the difference in the world. Raise your hand. Next. Yep, there we go.
I think just kind of seeing it from his perspective, I liked your dead fish analogy. Just that, like, I guess I've almost become bitter towards sex just because I feel like, well, is that all you want from me type thing? And as like a woman, seeing like that emotion is so important to me, and seeing that part of this is that he wants that emotional connectedness too, and the fact that he even wants me to learn to have a better experience is his way of showing me that he wants that emotional connectedness too.
That's perfect.
Not the dead fish. So
love that. Who's next?
I liked your talking about transition, and that can be more of my responsibility, something I can be proactive. And I never considered that sex was a decision on my part that I would need to make, and I was always waiting to be persuaded. But so I like having a little more mental control of that.
I love that.
And then the sex bucket list.
Oh yeah,
that's going to be a fun one.
Ooh, your husband's gonna love that. That's awesome. All right, who's next over here?
I really liked the idea of oneness.
Yeah.
And I'd heard that from you before in the past, and so I'd been working on that. to understand my spirituality and how that ties into my relationship physically and sexually with my husband. And when we have brought that together, the oneness is so much better. Our relationship is so much sweeter when we work to it on that way. And I listened to the stories and the comments, and there's hope that you have presented hope for everybody to find the relationship of oneness with their spouse.
Yeah, you got it. I'm so glad you shared that. It's possible, guys. You can see hopefully a vision. You can see a blueprint. You just got to do the work, and then you can have it. Who's next?
I have really enjoyed just being able to talk in this big, huge room openly about sex. This and in a safe way. It's not bad.
Yeah.
Sex is good, and sex is something that is part of our lives, and God
nobody
designed
fainted.
it.
Nobody fainted in here.
Nobody fainted, and God has designed it this way. And so I just really appreciate this forum, this ability to be able to talk about it and find out you're not alone, and find out that we can improve and help our husbands get that right idea.
Yeah, and this is why I'm so excited about that third step of this process of doing those small groups, because when you're in with the same 10 women for 12 modules, and you get to really see the deeper than even what you've done here, which is awesome. It's so powerful what group therapy can do for people in a way that nothing else can.
So Laura, I brought my 2 daughters with me today.
I'm so happy for you guys.
And I was really nervous because I thought, this could be really embarrassing, because I was in a generation where when I got married, it will all come natural, honey.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. And that is such a farce. And so I'm so grateful for the way you've done it, and the great help that you are to all of us. And it is a comfort to know that I'm not broken, that we're all in this together. It does take a lot of work.
Yeah.
I still have one daughter that is unmarried, and I will do my best to get her to understand
it's gonna be so great.
how this all works,
Yes.
even though I'm still trying to figure it out myself.
Fine. Love it.
But thank you for all that you do.
You're so welcome. This is literally why I call this work walking on sacred ground of people's souls. It's so awesome. And just on that note with the daughters, what's the coolest thing ever is to figure this stuff out yourself and then raise daughters that get to go into marriage already getting it down. That was the coolest thing for me. I have one married daughter, and she already gets this. She just gets to go into marriage with this, and I'm just so grateful. And all of us can have that for the generation and everyone around us that we can touch as well.
So I like the transition one also, like somebody else had already said, mainly because we are pretty good about flirting, and so in the morning, maybe I'll send my husband a naughty little something, but then life happens throughout the day, so by the time it comes down to it, I'm really not interested, but he's been working up all day, like, hey, it's coming, and I'm like,
what you do.
It's not happening. So the idea to just,
then you're committed.
I am, so I gotta stop and like put myself there, because it's gonna be great once it's happening.
Yep.
So I just never really thought about that. It's like, well, I'm not in the mood anymore, so you're off. Too bad.
Too bad for you.
So that is something.
And think about what it's like to be your husband.
Yeah, no kidding.
All of our
Very
husbands.
frustrating. So speaking of husbands, I would be very interested in a couples class similar. I mean, I know you do the cruises, but that's like a year and a half away until the next one. So I would love a couples.
Yeah, and as soon as I finish, the husband book too, we'll also do men's groups.
Just add that to your to-do list. Why not?
Just add it. Nothing else to do. But yeah, thank you. That's awesome. Anyone else? Did we miss anybody? Anyone else here? Okay, just want to give you a chance, but I think we're a few minutes over, pretty close.
I just really appreciated that when I signed up for this class, I was thinking sexual wholeness, I'll be good, but it'll fix me and it'll improve our marriage and it'll fix all the things because I'm the weak link in the marriage, Tell
your husband he's broken too.
Yeah. But I think the best thing is that it's not about sexual wholeness for my husband. That if that happens, it's great, but it's about sexual wholeness for me for my own sake, not just so that like we can have a good relationship. And again, if that happens, awesome. But it's because I'm a sexual being and I need that part of me to be whole in order for me to be fully happy. And I think fully connected to God also.
Yes. This is why we do this. This is what sexual wholeness, this is part of wholeness and perfection, and why I think this is why I'm so passionate about this. It's this one area that just gets neglected because nobody but Satan has access to this topic. You know, he's got free reign and nobody's even hardly competing with him. You know, so you hit the nail right on the head.